Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Okay, we were discussing about logical volumes, LVM. I think you have got a brief idea about it. Why LVM? I've told you. Normal, typical Linux partition cannot be either extended or shrinked. That is the main reason we are using LVM. LVM has numerous features, but we are just really sticking to our course contents. Will be I'll try to teach only according to syllabus because it's really so vast. And the thing what we are studying today is normally used in offices. Okay, so I think you got basic idea how and building blocks or components of LV, like physical volume, volume group, logical volume. I didn't explain extents, I'll explain today. And that's all. Now we will start practicing it. Okay. We will do practice based on same settings. Okay, I'll add two hard disk drives. I'll create two partitions on each hard disk drive, and we will do same thing. Okay, then you can easily understand, I think. Okay, so server is in on state. I'll add two hard disk drive to this machine. Okay, I want to add hard disk drive next, SATA next, again next 20 gigabyte. I'll give 10 gigabyte enough. Storage single hard disk, single file. Add it. Same way I'll add one more hard disk drive next. SATA hard disk. You create new, and 10 GB is enough. Storage single file, and give OK. You may get some error or warning. You can just ignore it. Okay, so that is VMware error. It's okay. Cancel it, will work fine. Okay, I think same thing will happen in your machine, in your VMware also. That is something I've tried a lot. I couldn't fix it. I asked many people. I didn't get any proper answer. Forget, but it's working fine actually. You check LSVLK. Okay, there are two hard disk drives added now, 10 GB each, right? You can try it. SDA 10 GB is added. No partitions are defined. STB is another hard disk drive, 10 GB. No partitions are defined. So what I'll do is we are planning to create LV. So you cannot directly create LV. LV stands for logical volume on physical hard disk drive. You must create partitions, and partitions should be converted to PV, and PV should be added to VG, and finally only we can create it. So LV is actually final product of this, set of process understanding, final product understanding. So you cannot directly create LV on a physical partition. So we will start the process. So we have added two hard disk drive to this machine now, and I'll create two partition on first, and second also I'll create two partitions. Let's try that. So partition creation is as usual, no difference. Okay, so either you can create GPT or MBR. That's really your discretion. I'll just create MBR now /dev/SDA. Okay, P for print, no partitions are defined or exist. N for creating new, and P for primary, and go for the first primary and start from 2048, and I'll just give plus 5 gigabyte, 5 GB. One partition is created. You can just try to print it. Yes, it's showing /dev/SDA is the partition, SDA1 is the partition. Start from 2048 and forget 5 GB in size, and partition ID is 83. 83 is actually typical Linux data store. Typical Linux data store. Type is Linux. I should convert that. I should change the ID because we are creating these partitions for forming LV, creating LV, isn't it? So we are planning to use these partitions to form the LV. So we must change the partition ID. I'll show you that, please. Okay, wait. Let me just create one more partition. I'll go for n again. Then new primary partition, second primary partition. Start from this, and there is only 5 GB remaining. I just want to give complete 5 GB to this partition. Finish. P for print. Look, there are two partitions created: STA1 5 GB, STA2 5 GB. But partition ID is something, you must change the partition ID because you are planning to use these partitions to form LV. So you must change. So 83 means typical Linux partition. So if you want to use this partition to form LV, you must change the partition ID. So how do we know what are the IDs? What are the types of partitions Linux supports? Just press L. Okay, small letter L and enter. Okay, so many types of partitions Linux supports because Linux is an open source operating system which support different file system and partitions. Okay, so that is why there are so many partitions defined. Types are uh, available listed here. In this, you can see there is a partition type 8E. These are the hexadecimal code of the particular partition. Okay, machine use this hexadecimal code to identify particular partition. Your operating system use these hexadecimal code to identify particular partition. So even 83 is what actually normal Linux partition. 83 is normal Linux partition. But we want to change to 8E because 8E is Linux LVM. So how do we change? To change, you can use T. T means changing the type. Enter. Then it says there are two partitions available, 1 and 2. Correct. Only two partitions, STA1, STA2. And it says defaultly selected 2. Number 2 is defaultly selected, it seems. Okay, enter. And it's asking what should be the hexadecimal code, 8E. Okay, now you can just p print. Yes, earlier it was 83, right now change to 8E and return Linux LVM. Same way I have to change the partition ID of STA1. So again T for change. So number 2 is defaultly selected. That has been already changed. So I have to go for number 1. And 8E hexadecimal code and P for print changed. Then you may ask, Ashraf, I had practiced same thing LVM long back in my Linux 7. I didn't change partition ID. That is really correct. No need to change the partition ID. ID of the partition. Okay, manually. The moment you select this partition to form LV, machine will automatically change. But I'm just showing how do we change, that's all. Really no need to change manually. But the moment you select the partition to form LV, that will automatically change. From 7, we have that feature, but below 7, really we were changing. Okay, we were changing manually. Understanding? So forget. But I was just showing it. How do we change it manually? So finally, WQ, right, and quit. That's all. I'm not giving part prop now because we have one more disk to create partition. So let me just go with disk STB. Okay, pre. Now, okay, partitions are defined. First new partition, and plus 5G is first partition created. And just to check capital F to know how much space you have unallocated, 5 GB. Sorry. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll go for n again, and remaining complete space assigned to second partition. Then partitions are defined. So let's see. I will not change partition ID of this STB. Okay, STB partition. I'm not going to change. Let's see whether we get any error when we use this partition to form LV or not. Okay, I'll give WQ, write and quit, and don't forget to give part prop. Okay, part prop will update the changes to the kernel so that the changes will persist even after restart. But this is really not required. You can test it. I've requested you people to test yourself once. Okay, now I'll just give lsblk, then you can realize yes, STA has two partitions, STA1 5 gigabyte type partition, STA2 5 gigabyte. Okay, now if you want you can apply file system on this partition and start to use it directly. If you want you can apply file system and start to use these partitions directly. But what's the problem of typical Linux partition? Typical Linux partition has disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? Main disadvantage is you cannot either extend or shrink. That is a problem. So I'm planning to use these partitions to form LV. I'm not going to directly apply file system and use it. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just try to I'll just try to form LV by using these partitions. Now try to understand. Okay, this is clear, right? Two hard disk added, STA, STB, and two partitions are defined, and we have changed the partition ID to LV. This is, we didn't change, but anyway created. What is next? Next we are going to start LV process, LVM application related process, means PP creation, VG creation, LV creation. There are so many commands, but easy and interesting command, not boring one. Okay, should listen well please. Now what I'll do is, okay, first I've told you LVM is an application. It is default in every Linux distribution. Introduced long back in 1990s. From 1990s, LVM application was really part of Linux operating system, and this is mostly used storage application. Okay, its purpose is very clear. Okay, we can create a volume which can be extend and shrink based on our need. That is the main purpose of what creating LVs. So it's very clear. I'll just check whether LV application is available here or not. For that I'll use rpm-q LVM version 2. It says LVM version 2 exists in this machine, so we don't have to install it. I've told it is default. Okay, now let's start to create PV. You cannot directly create LV. To create LV, there is some conventional method. First you have to create PV, and after that VG and understanding. Someone asked yesterday how many PV, how many VG. All I'll give answer today. Okay, listen first. Let me show you how do we create it first. I'll just give a command PV PVS. PVS means PVS command is used to know, okay, list existing PVs. Okay, here there is one problem. This operating system this operating system partition, okay, there is a chance for confusion. We know we didn't create any PVs. We know we didn't create any PVs, but showing one PV is listing one PV. Kindly please ignore this. This is actually okay, the PV which is created part of our OS installation. Please forget. Don't consider this, okay? Don't consider this. Okay, anyway, you just consider there is no PV listed. There are no PV listed, means no PVs. So there are multiple columns like PV column, VG column, format column, attribute column, P size, P free, means PV size, PV free space. So this is actually, okay, there is one PV that is really part of an operating system forget, but we didn't create any PV now. So you please consider there is no PVs, okay, listed here, please. Okay, then only you will understand it. So that means no PVs are available. So PVS command is used to list all available PV in brief, not in detail, brief. There is another command PV display. PV display command will display all PVs in detail. So there is one PV, right? Okay, the PV which is part of OS, forget. Imagine there is no PV. Okay. Now we are going to create our own PV, custom PV. So I've told you what is PV. What is PV? PV is just partition which is added to LVM app. Just partition. So I'm planning to add one partition from this, okay, one partition from this hard disk and one partition from this hard disk. I'll add, okay, only two partition, one from this, one from this. Other two we will, okay, try to use later. Okay, other two we will try to use later. Okay, one moment. Okay, so I'm planning to add one partition from this and one partition from this. No reason, just for understanding sake. And later we will, again add, and I'll show you multiple understand ways. Look here, I'll just add to, okay, one partition from each hard disk. I'll give a command pv create. Command is pv create. And what are the partitions you would like to add to pv now? Add as a pv. I want to add sta1. Second is /dev /stb1. These are the partitions we would like to add to pv now. Okay, so we have again sta2, stb2 also available, 5 GB each anyway. So it says physical volume /def sta1 successfully created. Second, created. So again you give a command pvs. Then it's showing, there are three. Forget first one. Okay, please forget first one. Once finish the pv creation, I mean lv, if you want, I'll try to explain this. Okay, now please look into other two. It says /dev /sta1 version LVM2, no attribute, 5 GB in size, 5 GB completely free. Second, same thing. Clear? No, I think no doubt. Okay, we have added two PVs. How to add one more PV? Suppose I want to add one more PV. Then command is simple, PV create only. I'm adding one more PV. PV create. I'll add /dev /sta2. Okay, now check PVS command. Yes, it's showing three PVs. Okay, please forget first one, STA1, STA2, STB1. Okay, so three PVs are added. So how do we remove a PV? PV remove command. Example, I just want to remove a PV. PV remove. I just want to remove /dev /SDA2. Removed. Check PV. Okay, PVS command. See, SDA2 is removed. Now I'll just give pv display command. Pv display command. Then it's showing PVs in details. Please forget first one. Look at second. /dev /sta is a new physical volume of 5 GB. Okay, this also a new physical volume of 5 GB. And PV name is this. It is not part of any VG. Okay, we didn't create VG so far, right? So it's not part of any VG. And PV size 5 gigabyte. Allocatable? No, you cannot directly allocate PV to store data. You have to create VG from it, and you have to create LV from VG. Understanding? So PE size stands for physical extent. I didn't teach you what is extent. It's coming next. Okay, I'll tell you then. Okay, PE size, total number of PE. I'll tell you, please wait. Free PE, allocated PE, and every PV, VG, LV will have UUID. Not for us, for machine. Machine means, okay, this LVM application can identify the PV, VG, okay, LV based on its, okay, what, UUID, universally unique identifier. So we don't have to learn by heart, memorize this particular number, forget, not for us. Okay, next is, this is how we add, remove PV. And if you want to, okay, if you want to add multiple PV at once, you can add. Suppose if you want to add 10 PVs or 100 PVs, really possible, you have to just mention all PVs name. So this is how we add and remove PV. This is how we add and remove PV. Understanding? So here you may have a question like, what is okay, what's the maximum number of VGs can be created? We didn't create VG so far. And maximum number of PV per VG. Okay, that we, okay, after creating VG only we can discuss. And maximum LV, that also we can discuss once we create
As-
LV.
Ashraf sir,
Yeah, yeah,
Ashraf sir,
yeah.
uh, at the time of creation, can we allocate just to create PB SDB1 SDBT to another? Can I allocate 5 GB to 10 GB something?
I
Can
didn't
can you
I
back
didn't get.
can you go in backslide back? No,
This
no,
one,
no. On command prompt or command prompt. Previous. Just to create one additional PV. SDB2.
pv create.
Uh,
Okay, slash dev slash
SDB.
sdb2. Okay.
Yes.
Shall I enter?
Yeah, yeah.
Ended. Then
Then so now, what is the third PV created? So here is the size. Size is the 5 GB. So can I change the size?
no,
It said
this is actually partition size, right? This cannot be changed. We can't change because this is actually partition. STB2 is a partition which we
okay,
have created by using fdisk. That cannot be changed.
okay,
Understand?
okay.
That is
Mm-hmm.
partition, right? That is partition. Look here, STB2 is a partition 5 GB in size. Cannot be changed. That is a
Okay.
that's our drawback. That's the main
Mm-hmm.
drawback of the typical partition. That is a reason we are planning to use what LVM application to create LVs, which you can extend and shrink based on your need.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Got it, sir. Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Now what I'll do is I'll show you this is how we create, remove and display the details of PV. Next we have only 3-4 commands, that's all. PV create command, PV remove command, PVS command, PV display command, that's all. And also I didn't explain complete attributes of the this PV. I didn't explain this all because no values here. So if I want to explain this, I must create VG first. I'm going to create VG. Listen. So VG is actually a container to keep multiple PVs, to club, okay, to join, okay, to bond multiple PVs, we use VG. So VG is just a container where you can keep multiple PVs. So I'm just going to create, VG. But before that, let me give VGS. You please try to understand we have, one PV which is part of our OS. So there will be a VG also. Please forget that VG, okay? There is one VG, VG name is CS. Please forget. Imagine there are no any PGs available in this machine, please. Then only you can understand what I'm telling next. So VG, PV, okay, there are so many column, VG column, okay, PV column, LV column, serial number, attribute, VG size, PG free size. Okay, anyway, we have two PVs now. Okay, sorry, we have three PVs, right? I'll just remove one PV now, okay? I'll remove STB2. I'll give PV remove. Then only we can easily understand this. PV remove slash dev slash STB2 removed. Now PVS, we have only two PVs. One is SDA1, another is SDB1. And I'll just give VGS command. I've told you, please consider no VGs are available. We are going to create our VG. So when you're creating VG, you can give friendly name for your VG. For PV, same partition name, right? STA1, STB1, ST. Okay, understand? Partition names are used. But for VG, you must give a friendly name. I'll give VG1. I'll give VG1. You can give anything, but normally in offices we'll have some standard names. Okay, VG1, and you have to mention what are the PVs you would like to add in this VG. How many PVs you have? You have two PVs. Slash dev slash STA1 is one PV, slash dev slash SDB1 is another PV. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm creating a VG. Name of VG is VG1. I'm adding two PVs to this VG. We have only two PV. I'm adding both. It says volume group VG1 successfully created. I'll just give again VGS command. Then you can see VG1. VG name is VG1. How many PVs are available? Two PVs are available in this VG, correct? And LV, we didn't create any LV, that's the reason 0. And SN serial number. Okay, serial number forget, we don't use that. Attribute is actually showing the status. I'll tell you that, please wait. And this is what total size. Total size is actual size is 5 plus 5 equal to 10 GB, right? What's the PV size? Okay, just to give you PVS command. Sorry, PVS command. What's the PV size actually? Okay, here you see SDA1. Okay, before creating VG it was 5 GB. Now it's showing less than 5 GB. It says total size is less than 5 GB completely available. Less than 5 GB completely available. So earlier it was actually 5 plus 5 only really. Okay, if you want you can remove this VG1, then you can realize it. It will show exact 5 GB. Now it's showing less than 5 GB. And also please try to understand, it should be 10 GB, right? But it's showing 9.99 GB. Means there is some MB is missed. Some very, very less MB. But some MB is because it's showing, like 9.99, okay, gigabyte, right? That means some MB is missed. Yes, some MB is missed. So I should explain that. Then you will understand what is extend. That's the reason we left yesterday. This extends. Look here. The moment you add, should listen well. Okay. The moment you add PVs, okay, PVs to VG, your VG will be divided into small block size like this. Okay. You create small blocks like this. These blocks are technically called extends, or you can call it as a block also. It's not a problem. Normally called extends. Okay, it's not extend ds, it is ts, extends. Okay, so when you are adding your pvs to vg, okay, your pv will be divided like this, small blocks. So it's actually okay, predefined size. So this is called extends or block, or you can say like chunk. Okay, chunks, pieces, chunks, understanding. So the moment you add your PV to VG, okay, your PV will be divided into small chunks, blocks that technically called extends. Size default is 4 MB, 4 megabytes. Then you may have a question like how exactly it's deciding the size of the block or chunks. So that is really the size, size of the block or size of the chunk, size of the extent is really determined based on the performance of the hard disk. If you ask me, I can't give an answer because I never worked on this technology in real time. But you catch one Linux, storage administrator or any other technology storage administrator like NetApp administrator or Spectrum administrator, Veritas EMC, they can really give an answer. But I'll tell you how exactly calculation is happening. You might be remembering when you were starting this hard disk chapter, disk and storage management chapter, I've told you one thing, like you must study what is RPM, rotation per minute, throughput, and IOPS. These are the three important aspects considered to measure the performance of the hard disk. Check it. Okay, there is a superb definition in Amazon website, Amazon Web Service website. Okay, a portal. Like in their blog, they have written very well the calculation, but it's not easy actually. That's the main reason I'm not teaching here. Okay, we don't have in our syllabus also. So if anybody would like to know how exactly the performance of the hard disk is calculated, you just type like this: what RPM, throughput, IOPS, Amazon Web Service, like something. Then you will get the first link. Click on it and just try to read and understand it. Okay, that is really based on the performance of the hard disk. A typical hard disk can, okay, a typical hard disk can, okay, store 4 MB data in a block at a time. That is a calculation. Typical hard disk. Typical hard disk means the disk which we use with, what normal personal computers, which RPM is less, IOPS is less, everything, input outputs, everything less. You know what is RPM? 7200 RPM only. Normal typical hard disk has 7200 RPM, but the hard disk which we use in servers are really 12,000, 15,000, 18,000 RPM. When RPM increases, what will happen is speed of the writing and read and write process also will really increase. So there are a lot of such things behind this hard disk. It's not just creating partition mounting. There are so many things really. Okay, you please try to understand these are called chunks. Okay, so this is actually, imagine 5 GB, right? 5. Okay, so then you have to ask what is the chunk size? 4 MB. So question is how many 4 MB chunks will be available on 5 GB hard disk? That is 5 GB. You just convert to MB, then 5000. Okay, I mean 5 into 1024, right? 5 into 1024. Then you will get that many MBs divided by number 4. Then you will get what? Total number of extents available on a particular hard disk. Example. Look here. 5 GB means 5 into 1024, right? 5 GB, 5120. Okay, divided. Okay, by what is the size of the extent now? 4 MB. Then divide by 4. Then it says, okay, 1280 extents normal like this blocks, chunks, blocks, extents will be available on 5 GB. So in case of this VG, listen please. In case of this VG, how many PVs we have? Two PVs we have added, right? Okay, one PV is SDA1, another is SDB1. What's the size of each? 5 GB each. 5 GB each. So that means 10 GB. In that case, 10 into 1024 equal to 10,240 divided by what's the size of chunks now? Default size is 4 MB. So 4. Then you will get 2560. 2560. Now what I'll do is I'll just give a command VG display. VG display. VGS command will show you VG. Okay, a descriptive. I mean, like what? Just with less details, understanding. So VGS command showing VG1. Okay, it says less than. I mean, like 9.99 GB only available, and I'm just going to give a command VG display. Then showing all VGs in details. Okay, showing all VGs in details. So in this you can see, in our case we have two VGs. One VG is what? The default one, you forget please. Second VG is the one which we created now. Listen well please. In this, look at the VG. VG name is VG1. Forget system ID. Format is LVM2. Metadata area. I've told you, every technology will have technology stamping. Technology stamping. Suppose for an example, you ordered something in Flipkart. So you will get the packet. The packet on packet, the surface of the packet, you can see Flipkart. Okay, a seal. I mean, like their stamping, their picture, something's printed, right? Flipkart. On box also printed, they have printed Flipkart. So just to identify their packet and advertising it, advertising their business, understanding. So there are so many strategies. So here, in this case, now there are two PVs, both PVs are added to the VG. And every technology will have technology based stamping seal. So that contain the metadata. Understanding? So in this case, VG will have its own metadata. Okay, metadata. To store metadata of the VG, what will happen is it will use one extent from each disk. So how many, sorry, each PV, don't say disk, sorry. Okay, from each PV, it will use one extent. So how many PVs added? Totally two PVs. So one PV, one extent from one, okay, PV means totally two extents. Totally. So if there are 100 PVs, then 100 extents. One extent from one PV will be used to store metadata. Okay, metadata means details of that particular technology. Then only your disk read write can understand, yes, this is not typical hard disk, this is something related to the application, means LVM application. So that is metadata area. Metadata sequence number, forget, read and write is possible, everything. And okay, current PV, okay, there are two PVs, right? And both are active, both PVs are active. And VG size 9.99 gigabyte. PE size, PE size, PE size. What is PE? Physical extent. 4 MB. I've told you default is 4 MB. Okay, so normally you can set more than 4 and above only. Like it will be always, we always set like multiplication of 2. That is, but that is really not like that. It's really directly depends on the performance of your hard disk. So you must calculate. So that's what I can't tell you. I can't really tell you. If you ask me, Ashraf, I have a storage hard disk in my office, and what is the extent size I can set? Default is 4 MB. Everybody know, and you can set like it's like I'll tell you. I've just, there is a person, okay, there is one coolie worker, okay. He said, I can finish a work within an hour. But you are saying, okay, you take, 3 hours to finish, then you are the loser, right? You are the loser. Okay, what he says, he said, I can finish this work within 1 hour, you pay this much. You are saying, I'll pay for 3 hours, you take 3 hours and finish, means you are the loser. Understanding? So what I'm saying is, your hard disk is really fast, but you are just setting 4 MB, 4 MB external size, means you are really, using the hard disk under performance. Okay, under performance. Understanding? So if your hard disk is like performing, it is under performance. So if you want to, you bought hard disk by paying huge amount just to utilize it, right? Utilize the speed, utilize the performance. In that case, you must know its exact, like performance, and you have to set the size of the extent based on it. So that's what I said. I can't tell you an answer, but you just, suppose you catch one storage administrator and ask this question, then they will ask you few questions to you, like which company hard disk you are using, what is the RPM of it, what's the throughput, what is the IOPS, it's all, and they will tell you finally one answer from their experience that will be accurate. Okay, so what I'm saying is default is 4 MB, and normally we set like 4 MB, 8 MB, but that doesn't mean you can set only in multiplication of 2, you can even set 6 MB, okay, 5 MB. That is really directly based on the performance of your hard disk. Now anyway, default is minimum is 4 MB, less than 4 MB is not entertained, because 7200 RPM is the starting hard disk available in market. So that supports, okay, 4 MB minimum. That's the reason 4 MB is minimum. Okay, it became, default, and you can increase more than that. If you're decreasing, means your disk will be, under performance. Understanding? No one want to do that. And here total PE 2558, we got 2560, right? So there is a shortage of two extents. Okay, total PE means total physical extents available on the disk is 2558, but we got 2000, okay, 560, because this is 10 GB hard disk. Okay, 5 GB into 2, 10 GB, 10 GB, 10 into 1024, 10,240 divided by number of extent equal to 2560 minus 2. What is minus 2? There are two extents used for metadata. See, that's the reason it says, okay, these two extents are not available. So that's the reason it says 2558 extents are available. So if you just, calculate 2558 into 4 MB equal to 9.99 GB, you will get. Okay, and it says allocated PE, any PE allocated to any, okay, LV, no, we didn't create NV, so 0 allocated PE, 0 allocated PE, VG size, completely free. And I've told you every PV, VG, LV will have UUID, forget, it's not for us. Okay, so I believe you have understood. So what I'll do is I'll just try to show you. I'm just going to create another, okay, VG. I just want to create another VG with different extent size. I'll give 8 MB. Okay, I just want to create one more PV with different extent size. Sorry, not PV, VG. I'll just give command PVS. What it says, slash dev slash SDA1 slash dev slash SDB1, two PVs are available. Both PVs are part of VG1 now. So there is no available PV to create a VG. So what I'll do is I'll just add one PV first. PV create. Okay, which PV you want to add? Slash dev slash SD. I'll add SDA2. Okay, SDA2. Add it. Now just to give PVS, then it says yes, one PV is available, SDA2 is available. Now what I'll do is I'm going to create a new VG, but this time I just want to create a VG with custom extend size, not 4 MB. Understanding? Okay, because I know my this SDA2 hard disk has, it can perform faster, so I've just calculated, okay, and finally came to know, okay, I can set 8 MB of the, okay, VG, sorry, 8 MB of the what extend size. Look here, I'll just give VG create. Okay, this time I'll just give hyphen S, and I'll give what is the size of the extend you would like to set 8 MB. So hyphen s is actually size of the extent. So if you didn't mention, 4 MB is default. And name I'll give VG2. In name can be given. And you have to mention which PV you would like to add now. Slash dev slash SDA2 is the PV I want to add. Enter. It says VG2 successfully created. VGS command just fire. So now VG1 contain two PVs, VG2 contain only one PV. Okay, and come to this 4.99 GB. Actually, it was 5 GB, but now 4.99 GB is available because this is this VG contain only one PV, so one extent might have used for metadata. Okay, okay, remaining only available for data storage. And also you try to understand, okay, after this we will create LV, and after that we will, okay, apply file system. Then file system also will use some space to store metadata. That is quite normal understanding. Now what I'll do is I'll just give a VG display command. VG display, look here. Okay, it is difficult. VG1 is okay showing here. This actually you know, our VG2 is above actually. Okay, so here I can't scroll. Okay, what I'll do is I'll use more. Okay, here, look here, VG2, the one which we have created now. What's extent size? 8 MB. 8 MB. What's the total size of the disk actually? Total size of the disk is, okay, not able to move here. It's not able to move. Yeah, it's opening there. Anyway, so what's the total size of the PV STA2 size is 5 GB. 5 into 1024 equal to 5120. What's the size of the extent now? Extent size is actually 8 MB. So divided by extent 640. But here 639 only available because one extent is used for metadata. Clear? Okay, so this is what. Okay, and this is next. I'll just give. Okay, then SDA. I mean, sorry, VG2, VG1 is visible here. It's very clear, right? Now we have created two VGs. Now imagine you have created. Look here, you have created two VGs. You have two VGs. Imagine this is one VG, this is another VG, and I just want. I've created LV here. Okay, two LVs, and I just want to extend this LV, but there is no enough space in this VG. I want to extend this LV, there is no enough space in this VG. Then if you want, you can, if there is any free VG means the VG which doesn't contain any LV. What is free? Okay, free VG, a VG which doesn't contain any LV. Example, this is a VG which contain 2-3 PVs, but no LVs are created. Means this VG is completely free. If you want, you can merge this VG with this VG. Merging VG. But you try to understand, okay, destination VG, the VG which you are going to merge to. Okay, this is source VG, this is destination VG. VG1 is source, VG2 is destination. So once destination merge to, okay, source, destination will not, okay, no longer exist. You will have only VG1, VG2 will not be there. So if you want to extend a VG with another VG, destination VG must be always empty, should be always empty. That is mandatory. Okay, now what I'll do is, and also there is one more demand. Size, okay, extent size of both VGs should be similar. But in our case, we have VG1 with 4 MB, VG2 extent size is 8 MB, right? So let's try to merge it. I'll use a command VG merge. Okay, which me, okay, VG1, VG2 means VG1 is source, VG2 is destination. It says, sorry, you can't, okay, extent size is different, so you can't. Now what I'll do is, you please try to understand, you cannot customize the extent size after creating the VG. That is very important. So before creating, okay, before creating the VG, you must decide the size of an extent before creating a VG. After creation, really no way to change the extent, customize extent size. If you want, you have to delete it and recreate it. So that is dangerous, right? So what you have to do, you must decide it before creation. Size of the extent must be determined before creating the VG. Now what I'll do is, anyway we have created and size of an extent is extents are different, so I'll just delete VG2. I just want to remove VG2. I'll just give VG remove command, VG remove, and VG name VG2. It's very easy, okay, because we are in classroom actually. In real time, when you are removing a VG, you will have to think twice. Think twice means you have to check whether that contain any LV or not. Understanding? So that is very important. If there is an LV, okay, if there is an LV in VG which you want to delete, you must take the data of that LV. Okay, you must back up the data of that LV first. Like this you have to plan. Understand? Now it's happening very quickly, then you may think, oh, it's very so easy. In classroom only, lab setup, and also if anything happen, we don't mind because this is a classroom. Understanding? But you try to understand, when we are doing real time, there are a lot of risks. Okay, now what I'll do is I have removed VG. Okay, just to give VGS, there is only one VG, VG1. I'm going to create another VG. Okay, size with extend size is default 4 MB. I'll just give VG create VG name. I'll give VG2 and slash dev slash STA2 is the PV added. Now VGS, it's showing two VGs. Size, extend size of both VGs are now similar, right? So I'll just try to merge. Now I'm just trying to merge. Yes, merged successfully. Now VG2 is not available. Again VGS, VG2 is not available. Look at VG1 size. Earlier it was 10 GB, right? 10 GB VG1, 10 GB, 9 point something. Now you see 14 GB because this 5 GB also added here, right? So 14 means 15 GB. Now 15 GB is available. Okay, so now check, you just give PVS command. Just to give PVS command, then PVS command, then it says there are three PVs now. All three PVs are part of VG1. All three PVs are part of VG1. Understanding? Now what I'll do is I'll just give VG display command. You can see VG1, there are three LVs. There are three PVs. Okay, three PVs. See, current PV, active PV, understanding size, everything showing, and 4 MBs. Okay, so 15 GB, 15 into 1024 divided by 4 equal to how much? 3800 and 40 minus 3 equal to 3837. Okay, clear. Now we have created VG, we have removed VG, we have learned how do we merge and created a VG with custom extend size. Next, I just want to show you how do we extend and shrink a VG. Okay, extend and shrink a VG. This VG1 contain 3 PVs. It says 3 PVs are available in this. So extending or shrinking the size of the VG means what? Adding or removing a PV in a VG. That's the meaning. Understanding? Okay, suppose you are saying you are saying, Ashraf, I just want to reduce the size of this VG to 7 GB. That impossible, because this VG is actually created with three PVs, which 3 PVs of 5 GB each. So you can if you want to reduce the size, you can reduce in 5 GB calculation, like you can reduce to 5 GB, you can reduce it 10 GB, you cannot reduce to 7 GB and all. Understanding? That is important. Now what I'll do is I'll just give VG reduce, and I just want to reduce a VG, like a PV from, reduce the size of VG1, and you just give which PV you want to remove, /dev /sta2. Okay, now it says removed /dev /sta2 from volume group VG1. Check the current size. It says now it is only 10 GB. Okay, earlier it was 15 GB, 10 GB. Like this only you can remove. You please try to, because this is actually this building. This VG is built with 3 blocks of 3 PVs, understanding. So you can reducing or extending the size means what, either you are adding, removing PVs only, understand. So it will be in predefined block size. Next, how do we okay extend the size? Is very easy. VG extend, VG extend. Okay, VG extend. Which VG you want to extend? VG1 by adding which PV, example slash dev slash SDA2. Okay, you try to understand. Okay, one PV can be added to one VG only. Understand one. Understand. It cannot be. Okay, just VGS. It's showing. Okay, next is VG rename. VG rename. I just want to rename a VG to VG. Okay, rename VG1. I want to rename as VG2. Now VG1 no longer exists. Just to give VGS, it says only VG2 is available. Okay, these are the things we have. Okay, now let me tell you something about VG. Maximum, see, this is actually controversial. Controversial in the sense, I have a request, you must read these information either only from Red Hat website or IBM website, because now Red Hat is actually completely controlled by IBM, understanding. You should not read from other website or other blogs or other any things, because there are a lot of, is a controversial. Someone asked yesterday how many PVs can be created, VG can be created. You can see in different bloggers written in different way, but I usually really refer either IBM or Red Hat. So you can read either from IBM website or Red Hat website. See, maximum number of VG is really directly depends on bitrate of the kernel. So if your machine has 32-bit kernel, okay, then you can create 255 VGs maximum. Okay, 255. And if it is 64 bits kernel, you can create 1024 VGs. Okay, so that is you sorry, not 1024, 4096. 4096 VGs can be created. So how many VGs can be created in a machine? That is really depends on the bitrate of the kernel. If bitrate of the kernel is 32, then 255. If it is 64, 4096. Number one. Next question. Someone asked this question yesterday, and this is frequently asking interview question. Okay. Okay, number two is maximum PV for, okay, PVs per VG. Okay, how many PVs can be added to a VG? Okay, that I have really tested once. Okay, tested once practically, because it was really small number, so I have just tested once. Maximum PVs per VG. Maximum PVs per VG is 32. You can test it. Okay, this you can test it. Okay. No one can test this. Okay, so this you can test. 32 PVs can be added per VG maximum. This is okay according to IBM information. I've tested this, really it's correct. All okay. Next is LV. LV I'll tell you after discussing LV. So now VG is finishing here. Okay, we can't start LV today. So this is a big problem of this chapter, like continuity is very important. Okay, in next class I will not be discussing, we will not be discussing anything about PV and VG. Understand? You should be very clear. You must practice and complete till this. Please, is my request. Otherwise, will not get proper connectivity. So you must have proper connectivity to understand next concept. So please practice, because you have 2 days time. Understand? Okay, so I can't repeat it. You can ask questions related to that in next class or today, but I can't repeat completely. That's impossible. Okay, so I'll tell you what is a maximum LV enroll in next class. You please try to understand the importance of this chapter. Main thing, exam. Number two, frequently asked interview question. Number three, everywhere used. Real time, still it is really okay active in market. Superb technology, and you are going to understand the importance. Because we didn't create LV. Okay, so far once we create LV, you will understand. You know what, you can create LV and you can apply file system, mount it, and you can see, you can extend and shrink when it is in live. Live means people are accessing, your employees are accessing. Okay, you can extend it. you can shrink it, no need to unmount. Without unmount you can do anything and everything. That's the main advantage of this technology. Okay, so now you have a chance. I'm stopping here because next is LV is really huge. If I start today, no use. So you have a chance to ask questions if anything related to this. Please, this is very bad. Many people didn't attend today. I don't know what they are going to do. If not interested, just inform Ashwin, that's all. Why we have to simply waste our time? Understand? I'll just drop a message in group today. Let's see. Okay, you see last class, last day what happened, there was technical issues and disease no one can predict. Understand? Technical issue, disk was really completely spoiled. Understanding? So I've just bought second hard disk, and we have cloned it somehow. There is a person, he's technically sound, he cloned and readied it. That's the reason I'm taking class today. So otherwise we didn't cancel many classes. Okay, normally some trainers are not on time. I usually start at 7 o'clock sharp. 7 I start, and I start to I'll be requesting group like join, please join, kindly join. No one interested, then why? I'll just speak to Ashin. This is very bad. Not informing also. Okay, so this is, you must consider this like a normal classroom only. Understanding? There are some formalities and some manner. Understand? That's important. If they are joining whenever they are feeling to join, that is really bad. So they can decide it whether they want to join, I mean like continue or not. Bad. Anyway, we'll meet tomorrow. Okay.